Hi everyone, this is Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy, your local political economist. I am not a certified planner. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a gentleman on YouTube that has put together his experience in using velocity banking and accelerated banking. All right, let's get started. Today I just wanted to provide just a recap or update since starting to use the principles. Hold on a sec. Birds chirping. Just wanted to provide an update of how I have used velocity banking, accelerated banking, and its principles since starting in December of 2023. So up to this point, when I initially started velocity banking, accelerated banking, I had some credit card debt, probably 25 to 35,000. I tried to get a mortgage line of credit, but because of the debt that I was carrying, not just on this, but three mortgages, about 144,000, and based on my income, it was pretty much a no-go. So I just started looking at these principles and started doing the work. So since December of 2023, I've now been able to reduce my credit card debt between my business side and also on my personal side to under $10,000. Currently, the personal credit cards that I have remaining, which are two now, are Navy Federal and also Bank of America. This Bank of America credit card is currently at 0% until February 2025. So I'm gonna kind of find some way to work this down. And the Navy Federal is 2147. That's a part of the other previous video that I'm working at. Navy Federal itself may fluctuate and may stay at 2,000 because I'm also using that as cash advance against some of my other debt in general. I'm also using convenience checks from Navy Federal and chunking about $1,800 on other debt. And that's how one way I was able to fundamentally reduce this debt is using Navy Federal cash advance and also Navy Federal convenience checks. Now on the business side, I've also been using velocity banking on the back end. So my only debt now on the business side for credit cards is 1,100 for Bank of America and 1,073 for American Express. So between the both of these sets, my business side and my personal side, I'm now left with $9,939.98. So I'm very pleased with what I've done with velocity banking and accelerated banking in general. So with the basic principles of doing this, basically amounted to a mindset change and what I was doing with my money. Prior to using both of these principles, I was getting my check from my employer. Sorry if it's small. That check was going into a bank. From the bank, I was paying my debts and my lifestyle, which including student loans, credit cards, auto loans, housing, and just other. So again, before engaging in velocity banking, accelerated banking, I was picking up a paycheck, putting it into a bank, and from the bank, I would pay all the different kinds of debt. And what was ever left from paying those debts were sitting in the bank. And that could have been $1,000 just sitting there once all my bills have been paid for the month. Now we're using velocity banking. I had about 20 some accounts, 11 credit cards. I would select a specific credit card. In selecting that specific credit card, I would first of all get my check from my employer. From my employer, still, it had to go to the bank. Okay, now from the bank, I now selected each time a specific credit card that I was targeting. Take, for instance, of all these remaining credit cards, this is the highest one that I still have. So now what I'm gonna do is starting next month, I'll start dumping my entire paycheck into well, not necessarily, I'm sorry. I won't be dumping my entire paycheck. Well, yeah, I think I will. I still do dumping my entire paycheck because I can write from here checks to pay my rent, utilities, and fundamentally everything. But I still think I may rely on the Navy Federal system because it has a lower rate, and it also has a lower rate when I use cash advances or convenience checks. So I still may use Navy Federal as a way to reduce this. I'm gonna still try to work it out. But just going back to how I am now banking and doing my personal finances, now I pick up my check from my employer. From my employer, it goes into the bank. From the bank, I select one of my credit cards, whichever one it is that has a balance. And I put the check on it, the majority of the check. And then that helps bring down the balance of that check, the balance. Oh, excuse me. That helps to bring down the balance. So fundamentally, in the bank where I used to have maybe $1,000, a couple of $100 sitting in savings account, emergency fund account, I've reduced that to down to maybe 20, $20, $10, maybe $30. But fundamentally, all of the money that I received from my employer goes on to whatever credit card I've been trying to reduce. This system has helped me personally, from my personal experience, to reduce at least my credit card debt over the last 5 months. About 10, I'll say 10 to $15,000, if not more, in general. But it hadn't been just my cash flow that was left from my checks. I also really relied heavily to some degree on Navy Federal cash advances and convenience checks to kind of reduce the interest rate on these credit cards at like 25%, 30%, 28%. Navy Federal was lower, even the convenience checks at 18%, and even the cash advance at 18% helped me to beat and reduce these other credit cards. And all I did was just simply put my check into Navy Federal and then wrote convenience. Then I wrote convenience check. So I called Navy Federal, got some convenience checks. They sent them in maybe 9 or 10, and each time I just used them to reduce my debt. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful with the convenience checks and the cash advance, because if you make a purchase, or if I make a purchase on this Navy Federal card, that purchase jumps in front of the cash advance and the convenience checks, pushing them to the back. In addition, the credit card itself is an average monthly balance versus the cash advance and the convenience checks that I've used is a daily balance. As soon as the vendor receives it or Navy Federal has to pay for it, it starts on a daily balance versus the purchases are on a monthly balance. And the cash advances and the convenience checks can be more than the average, but for me, they have been lower than any of my credit cards. The lowest credit card that I have is about at 25%. So 18% for the convenience check, 18% for the credit card, 18% for the cash advance, all flat, still better. I still have come out better. All right, so I just wanted to give you that update. Again, this is Will, aka Dr. Financial Literacy. If you'd like to work with me or my team, help you improve your credit, help you also to reduce your debt, my contact and email number is in the description below. Please give me a call. We'd love to work with you. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.